Hello, and welcome to episode 146 of Design Curious Podcast. I'm your host and mentor, Rebecca Ward. Today on the podcast, I have guest Ronniesha Rivera. We have a very fun conversation. Let me tell you a little bit more about her. Ronniesha is founder and CEO of Vetted by Design. Her passion for VBD stems from her own challenges as an interior designer. After years in the industry, she grew frustrated with endlessly searching through Facebook groups and Google just to find the right professionals to hire. She knew there had to be a better way, a centralized platform where designers could easily connect with vetted businesses that cater to our industry. And that's exactly why Vetted by Design was created. Ronniesha believes that Vetted by Design can help any designer at any stage of their business. And so it was a lot of fun to learn about this program. I think it's going to be very advantageous for many people starting out or even with established businesses to be able to use this platform to find the right people for their team. So let's get into our conversation with Ronniesha. You're now listening to Design Curious, a place where you, creative one, are here to learn about what it really is like to be an interior designer. And I'm your host and mentor, Rebecca Ward. If you're worried about how to succeed in a creative career, if you're ready to learn your next steps to become an interior designer, and if you want the satisfaction of doing something you love every day, you are in the right place. Grab a coffee, a notebook, and let's dig into today's episode. Hi, Ronniesha. Welcome to Design Curious Podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you on. I love what we're going to be talking about today. You are an interior designer and you have a business now called Vetted by Design. Let's first of all talk about what took you into the career of interior design.
Like a lot of designers, from a young age, I was designing my room and I didn't even really know what interior design was. I always knew architecture. I hadn't heard of interior designers. And I went to high school, took a class in high school that was architectural drafting. And I loved it, but I didn't like architecture. I was like, how can I continue to be creative and do the drafting side that I love? I don't know how I found out about interior design, but somehow, some way, I found out about interior design. And I ended up going to school for it. I got my AA and my BA in interior design, and the rest is history. I graduated from college and started working for a small boutique firm. I worked for an architecture firm for a little while. And then after a couple of years of that, I was ready to start my business.
Wow, we have almost exactly the same path about not even knowing there was a career for interior design when you're young, just thinking it's architecture. But yeah, that's very much my story as well. Okay, so you started your own business as an interior designer. How long ago was that?
That was 4 years ago. It seems like a long time, but it also seems like no time at all.
Right, yes.
Like, I'm still very much so what they would call like a baby designer.
Right.
Like, still learning and still making mistakes, and that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. What kind of design do you love to do?
I do a lot of destination design, so second homes, cottages, cabins, lodges, anything that's in the mountains. So that's what I've been focusing on, and I've been having a lot of fun with it.
Nice. Where are you located? Is it in mountain area? I'm trying to see.
Washington and Idaho.
Oh, okay. Yes. So there's a lot of mountains over there.
Plenty of mountains, no shortage of mountains.
Yeah. Awesome. That sounds like a lot of fun. Okay. So how about those first 4 years? I'm sure you've made some mistakes. What about in hiring people for your business? Tell us about.
Yes. The first, I want to say year of my business, I very quickly realized that I wanted to hire somebody to do the bookkeeping because when I wasn't having very many projects, I was managing. I was kind of figuring it out, but then I signed some larger projects and I didn't want to do the books anymore. So I need to find a bookkeeper, and I was searching high and low, and I did my due diligence too. I interviewed probably 2 or 3 bookkeepers, I ended up going with a bookkeeper. She had never really heard of interior design. She heard of it, but like never had an interior designer that she had done services for. I was a little bit weary about it, but she was the bookkeeper of a contractor I worked with. So I figured the businesses would be similar enough that it wouldn't be a problem. I take full accountability for my portion of this story. I was a little bit behind on sales tax, and I didn't understand how to remit it and how to get caught up.
Yeah.
And so when I hired her, I told her that I needed help with that. I needed help figuring out how to get up to date on my sales tax. I had all of my sales tax set aside in a bank account. I just needed to get current. And she was fine with that. And she's like, okay, we'll figure it out. And she actually ultimately ended up filing my sales tax incorrectly. That ended up me getting like a ton of fines, a ton of penalties, and it ended up costing my business thousands of dollars. Yeah. And I was only like a year into the business, maybe 2 years into business. So having that kind of hit to my company was really not great, almost devastating. And it almost took me out because I didn't have a ton of reserves in the bank accounts. So that's when it really was very obvious to me that who you hire in your business, whether it's an interior design business, whether it's any kind of business, who you hire can have very big impacts on your business. I had to learn the hard way.
Yes, you did. Okay, so now you're helping people to not have to do what you did, right? Learning the hard way and making it a little bit easier for them. So that's what prompted you to start Vetted by Design. Is that correct?
That's where all the passion comes from, is just my own mistakes. And there was other things that I had to hire for in the first couple of years. That kind of bit me in the butt as well. So I just kept feeling like there should be one place that designers can go to find people that they can trust to hire. It's 2025. I do not know why we do not have something like this. I probably did what every designer does who's in those like first couple of years of business. Anytime I needed to hire for something, I would go to Facebook groups and I would try to search and search and search, or I would create my own posts looking for someone. And sometimes I would get no replies, or if I did get a reply, it wasn't from somebody that I felt like I could trust. And quite frankly, all of that was very time consuming for me, searching for my team, essentially. And I was just like, we have to create this. There has to be a place that's not just a simple directory of people. It needs to be people who have been vetted and who are experts in their industry.
Yeah. Okay, so that is what Vetted by Design is? Is that kind of where we can go to find all of this?
Yes, that is the whole mission of Vetted by Design, is to be a centralized platform for interior designers to be able to go to and find their team, find their online team. And it's so robust. There's no stone unturned. We have pretty much all kinds of pros on there, all the way from 3D rendering to lawyers who can help you review your contract.
Wow.
Pretty robust platform.
Yeah. So how did you go about putting all this together? Did you have someone assisting you with it? Like, did you have to hire someone else to help you hire people?
This has been a dream, and it's been in the making for 2 years. I did have a maternity leave within that 2 years.
Yeah.
So that kind of was a whole aspect of it. But the platform originally started with a co-founder. So I was building it with a co-founder, and ultimately he decided that he was like, you know what? You're way more passionate about this platform. I think you should just take it and run with it. And I was like, yes. And so it's been many years in the making, and I'm very excited that it's finally launched. And I just can't wait to share it with everyone.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's talk more about it. So how do interior designers get on this platform? Does it cost money to join, or what's it all about?
Since the whole platform is geared towards interior designers, it's completely free for interior designers, and it will always be. I want it to always be a free resource for them. There's no paywall. You don't have to make an account or anything. You can just go and start searching. And I really wanted to do that because I feel like as an interior designer myself, my business moves very fast. So if I need somebody to help me with outsourcing drafting or rendering, typically it's on a time crunch, even if there's like due dates that's associated. So I wanted designers to be able to go on the platform and have access right away. So it's free for interior designers. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And so these are all people that are working virtually, and then they might be working for multiple designers at the same time too.
Yes. Yes. So it's all virtually. In the future, I think it would be amazing if I could implement some sort of job board. So if a designer wanted to hire in person, you could go and look by state and kind of find jobs. But that's in the future.
Yeah. So do you have multiple virtual people for each position, like 3D renderers or CAD drafters, or what about the drafting platforms themselves? So I know a lot of designers use different ones. So
Yes. And so there is currently 16 or 17 categories. And per category, we're going to have about 15 pros. There are some categories that are state-based. So like lawyers are kind of state-based. So we will have more pros in those types of categories. But I really envision it to be a curated group of pros. So I don't want it to be like, it's a bad word for me, but Fiverr or anything.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there's just like way too many pros that are on that platform. Be curated. And I want it to be intentional, and every single pro that will be on the platform, I'm going to have a close relationship with. I'm going to be constantly checking in, constantly connecting with them and supporting them. Well, my job not only is to support interior designers, because I am an interior designer, but I also want to support the pros that are on the platform as well. So it all goes together. But about 15 pros per category, and then I'm constantly adding categories because I think of things.
Right, yeah. Or someone might ask you, like, oh, do you have someone for this?
Because I want it to be like a one-stop shop. So I do add drafting platforms like Revit and SketchUp and
Chief Architect and
there's so many.
There's AutoCAD. Yeah.
There's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So how do you vet the people that you're interested in adding to your platform?
So our vetting process is pretty in-depth. I don't share the whole entire process just because it's very lengthy and very wordy. But essentially, if a pro is interested in joining the platform, they can apply on the website. There's like a form that they fill out, and we take all the forms, we review them, and based off of basically a couple components on that form, people will either move on to the next step, or we might ask them to reapply in 6 months. For any creative pros, that's going to be your VDAs, 3D rendering artists, even drafters. We will ask that you submit a portfolio of your work. And then the non-creative categories like lawyers, they don't need to submit a portfolio. We review your portfolio. There's a creative board. We sit down on a Zoom call and we rate the portfolio off of a ton of different aspects. And then based on that rating, you'll either move on to the next step, which is going to be reference reviews. So we ask that pros submit a number of references. And so we just check in with those references. And then if you go on to the next step, you have an interview with me, the founder. And that interview really is just to get really in depth about why you run your business, why you want to be on the platform, why do you want to work with interior designers. It's very conversational. We're going to become close friends. I really just want to get to know every single pro that's on the platform. And then from there, if you move on to the next step, it's being accepted onto the platform. Even once a pro has been accepted onto the platform, we are constantly still vetting. We're still monitoring all pros, checking back in 6 months and seeing how we can support them and just how their business is doing. It's pretty in-depth, but I think it's important. And I think that really is where the trust comes into play for interior designers to be hiring these people.
Right.
just knowing that they've been vetted and then they're continuing to be vetted. I think it's important.
Yeah, that is. Yeah. And so is this maybe an option also for designers who are looking to supplement their income? Like maybe they're been in business a year or two and they're still looking to get more work. And so they could be hired out as a virtual design assistant. How do they get a part of that program? So when a pro is looking to join.
That's tricky. And that's something that I have spent so much time in really just turning to my peers and having the ongoing conversation, because I think even for me having my business for 4 years, there's so much ebb and flow. And there's seasons where you're not getting a ton of projects, and then there's seasons where you get a ton of, And so I really want to figure out how I can support interior designers if they're like, oh, well, I can offer 3D renderings when I'm low on projects. And it's hard because there is a limited amount of people that can even be on the platform. So I think that it's a balance I'm still navigating. Yeah, I'm still navigating. But if there is an interior designer out there who wants to be on the platform and offer services, I'm 1000% email me and we can get the conversation started.
Okay, great. So for designers who maybe want to utilize this platform and they do need help, they fill out a form probably, right? To see what it is that they need. And then they work with you do they meet several people or do you just kind of matchmake or?
A match. If somebody reaches out to me, they can explain what they're looking for, or you can go directly to whatever category you're looking at or needing and look and see what pros are in there. And I haven't rolled out with it yet, but I am planning on creating a podcast where I interview all of the pros. And so if you're torn between, oh, I like this company, but I also feel like I align with this company, you can actually listen to a 30-minute podcast on each company and see a little bit behind the scenes, pull back the curtain on that pro, which would help you make a decision.
For sure.
So it's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of like the matchmaking and kind of seeing who's a fit for who, but also designers can just go on there and do a deep dive and look at all the profiles and see what they resonate with best.
Yeah. So are the pros that are on there, they have their own companies and then they're just adding this on as like a virtual arm of their business?
Yes. Yeah. So all pros on there have their own companies. Most of the pros on there have some sort of interior design background. So either they were previously an interior designer and made a career switch, or they only work with interior designers, or they have extensive knowledge in interior design. That's the whole point of the platform, is to hire people that know your business and that know the jargon and how it runs. So everybody on there has some sort of design background.
Yeah, so I imagine bookkeeping services would be one of the main ones. Because that's one of your pain points when you were starting out. And as we know, there's a lot of platforms for bookkeeping as well for designers. I mean, there's, of course, QuickBooks a lot of people use, but then there's Studio Designer and Design Manager. Do you have people for all of those different types of platforms?
I'm working on, because there's certain categories that specialize in certain project management software. So you might have a VDA who works closely in Studio Designer or works closely in MyDoma, which we're kind of navigating that. All of the pros that are on there currently have been hand selected by myself. And so we're kind of navigating like, I want to have a variety. So I don't want all of the VDAs to only be in MyDoma or all of the VDAs to only be in the software. I really want a variety of people who work in a variety of different kinds of software. So I don't know if that answers the question.
Yeah, no, that it does. Yeah. So that there should be someone out there for you, regardless of what platforms or softwares that you're using, right? Because there's a lot of different design software. Do you ever make recommendations for people who maybe are like, I need to create some systems in my business. I'm not using a software. Would you meet with them and kind of be like, oh, I think that like this platform would work well for you, and here's a person who can help implement it. Is that also something you could do?
Yes, and I do plan on having a bunch of resources for designers that explain the different types of software. I have used so many different software. I have a little bit of knowledge in pretty much all of them. So I definitely want to work with designers on software for like managing clients, managing your business, but also software about drafting and just getting the knowledge out to designers. I think more often than not in this day and age, interior designers are coming from all walks of life. So some are coming from the education pathway, and some are coming into the career as a second or third career. And so knowledge is key, and just getting that knowledge in front of designers who are coming from second or third careers, I think is going to be really important. That's going to be an ongoing mission for me, is just the educational standpoint. And bringing in people who know more than me and who are experts on different software. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think one of the most common things I hear designers telling me that they might want to hire out for is like social media, newsletter, things like that, where it is helpful to have an industry specific or someone knowledgeable about interior design industry, not just having some general marketing person who can do your social media for you. So do you have that as well in?
Yep. We have social media managers who will also do, like, if you want to do Pinterest, whatever the platform is, they can help you navigate that. And I think you are so correct. Social media management is just like a growing category. It's definitely, we have social media managers, we have PR agents, of course, we have branding and marketing.
Yeah. Good. Okay. So like even setting up like an email workflow and things like that, that would be good. PR is interesting as well. So if someone was looking maybe to get a lot of their projects published, you have a PR specialist who can, or a publicist who could help connect them or help them work on getting that.
And they specialize in interior design, so they know all of the publications, they have the connections already set up. So PR is one of that I'm really excited about. And then in my own personal business, I'm starting to think, I kind of want like a workflow set up on my pricing. Over the years, I've gone hourly, I've gone flat fee. I've never done square footage, but I need just like a more streamlined process for bidding my projects. And that's my own thought that I've been having. And then I'm like, that needs to be on the platform. There's a designer out there who want someone to come into their business and help them create a pricing model. And so now I'm looking for that to add to.
Yeah, no, that's great. I think that's helpful that you are practicing designer, because then you can identify like, okay, now I need this and now I need that. And everyone else is going to want that as well. So
that in a way, I am my own target audience.
Yeah, it's a lot of the people.
Yeah. And it's nice because a lot of the pros that are currently on the platform, I've actually used them in my own interior design business. So I already know their workflow. I already know their integrity, how they show up. So it was just a very nice, fluid way to start the platform.
Yeah. Well, you sound like you're very busy if you have a kid and then you have two businesses that are also your kids. So
yes, I stay busy. That is, yes.
Yeah. I often say that my business is like another child, really, because it just requires so much attention. You know?
Yep. My daughter goes to sleep at 7 and I'm definitely on my laptop working.
Yeah. Okay. Well, where can people find you? I'm sure they're going to want this service. So let's tell them how to find you.
Yes. So the platform is live and it's vetted-bydesign.com. I'm on social media, Instagram, Vetted by Design, LinkedIn, Vetted by Design. All things Vetted by Design.
Okay.
Currently, I did open up applications. And so if there's any pros out there that are interested in the platform, even if you don't know if you want to apply, you just want to have a conversation with me, I would love that. That'd be amazing.
Great. Okay. We'll put those links in the show notes so everybody can find you and use the platform, or even maybe get hired to be on there. So okay. Well, thanks, Ronniesha, for coming on today and sharing this great service with our audience.
Yes. Thank you for having me. It's fun because I've been a long-time listener, and you're always just like fun to be on the other side of it.
Yeah.
It's been really fun.
Oh, well, thank you for listening.
Of course. I don't know if you've reached a lot of designers, so it's really cool to finally talk with you and just say thank you for your podcast and how much help you're putting out. It's just amazing.
Well, that's great to hear because I don't always get that feedback. I know it's going out to people, but they don't always take the time to leave a review or just message me. And I love to hear it. So thank you for letting me know. All right. Well, we'll talk soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. So if you are interested in growing your team and maybe are daunted by the fact that you have to hire someone, well, I think Vetted by Design is going to be a great opportunity for you to do this so much more easily than doing it by yourself. So reach out to Ronniesha. We put her information in the show notes. And while you're there, don't forget to look for all the other goodies we have for you, links for downloads and information on My Design Mentor if you're looking for a little more help in getting your career started, then you're going to want to get in there. So all that information is there for you. I'd love to hear from you. And that's all I have for you this week. So next week we'll have another great episode. And until then, stay creative. Thanks for listening. If you love this episode, please leave a rating and a review. This helps me reach other curious creatives like you. If you have a topic request or would like to contact me, simply head over to my website, rwarddesign.com, or email me at podcast@rwarddesign.com.